Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to chapter 2 of Kageboushi. Did we read the tips last time? Yeah, we did. Okay, beautiful. Last time was the Chisato POV. I mean, since we're it's almost like 2/3 into the last arc, or even 3/4. It would make sense if we just don't get Natsumi POV for a while. Maybe it will be Chisato, because it does seem like it's gonna be like with the 3 detectives. With the 3 detectives, I feel like there's like a better like it's not focus on Natsumi, because we all know Natsumi's trying to hit the L4 stage eventually. It's like trying to prevent it slash prevent her from murdering people. I don't know like how you do that without the antidote, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't get Natsumi POV and we just sit with Chisato, though, if they spice it up, give us a little Tamako POV, little Akira POV would be pretty cool. And before, like, as soon as we start the chapter, it's Natsumi POV. I'm just saying, dude. It's nice to get, like, in other people's heads. What the heck? Saturday, June 25th, 1983. The bookshelves were narrowly lined up inside the record rooms of the Metropolitan Public Safety Division. Yo, this is the background Ryukishi used in his little after-day messages for the answer arts, I think. Countless files and bundles of documents were stored here. There were public security incident reports and related material from as far back as the end of World War II and up until today. Yet, despite the sheer amount of effort spent maintaining these records, their content is extremely rarely made public. Most are destined to stay buried away and remain secret for all eternity. Not because the cases go unsolved or because the truth is never found. If anything, the investigations that have happened here have exposed a large number of trends, structures, or fraudulent records of big-shot politicians, high-level bureaucrats, and political organizations. However, no, because of that, countless investigations are suspended without being made public. Because the subjects listed here often involve people who have a lot of influence on the political and economical world. So of course many of those people band together to try to find common ground because they have authority and occasionally commit fraud. So what would happen if these documents were inadvertently revealed to the general public? Maybe people would grow less trusting of politics and the world would lose its authority. Yeah, it depends on the severity, but I didn't see people wilding out. If that happens, it would have devastating effect on the population, and the federal system would be crippled beyond control, and there would even be a risk that the chaos could lead to a total collapse. Politics, economics, diplomacy, it's no exaggeration to say that the so-called dark history of this country is stored in this room. As a result, not even police officers are allowed to freely enter and leave this room. A strict ID card and password check is required for entry. Akasaka is one of the chosen few. Based? Oh yeah, I was corrected. We have seen Akasaka before. I don't know how I forgot Old Man Akasaka in the third consort. The one that starts with the Y. Probably because he was like a very, very small part of the story, but yeah. So we've seen everyone before. But it's nice to see them back in their prime all together, man. It's pretty sick. My toe carelessly bumped into the side of a protruding bookcase. The gaps between the shelves have space wide enough for two people to stand side by side. I made my way through the passage and reached a small, quiet door at the end. This stood yet another security check. I undid the lock and opened the door leading to the 7th reference room. And inside the room, off in one of the corners, stood a desk separated by shoulder-height partitions. My office! Nimi! Dude, you're like, Aiden, who's Nimi? If you don't remember Nimi, you're not a true Higurashi fan. No, I'm joking. I mean, it's perfectly fine not to remember Nimi. He was, I believe, at like in Minaduroshi when they did that. Was it Minaduroshi? I think it was Minaduroshi when they were showing future Akasaka as a karate master, like 1v20 these gang members, and Nimi was like his subordinate. Yeah, why do I remember Nimi? Well, because he had a really funny name. I don't know. Is Nimi a normal name? Is there any Japanese person named Nimi? I'm doodling it, dude. Nimi. It's a city in Japan. It is a city in Japan. There is a surname Nimi, so maybe it's not that uncommon. I just never heard of it before. Or at least they don't use it a lot in the Japanese literature. I was about to say in Japanese literature, but that's a little haughty because I'm not like an expert or anything. Anyways, that's Nimi. A lone detective watching TV near their window noticed my entrance, stood up, and saluted. It's been 1 year since I was promoted to police superintendent. I'm finally getting used to the title of commissioner. Hell yeah. No,
相変わらず勤勉だな。危険度も低い市民団体のようだから、特に警戒の必要はない。
They said that about the Onita Fuji Guardians before. They're just a group from some small village, and look what they accomplished, man. They went crazy.
まあ、総動員で追っていた例の超特大の山がばらけちゃってから、しばらく暇続きでしたからね。二人とも勘が鈍らないよう。とにかく体を動かしておきたいんだって言ってました。あ、コーヒー入れますか？あ、頼むよ。
Detective Nimi filled a paper cup at the coffee machine by his desk and said, "Here you go," as he sat it on my desk. Sitting in my chair and taking a big gulp, I bitterly thought back on the incident Detective Nimi just mentioned. We, the police, should have been overjoyed not to have any criminals that needed catching or crimes that needed trying. However, that case in particular was halted by an order from the top brass. In other words, some political influence made them decide to abandon the case before completion. I'm sure some political pressure was involved in the decision. Evidently, some corrupt people were involved on the inside. Nevertheless, taking into consideration the social pressures and disadvantages, the case was shelved. It's not like this was a first for me or anything, and I could understand the necessity to compromise in the interest of national order. Still, it's a fact that the more pride we have in maintaining justice, the harder it is to accept these unreasonable circumstances. Oh, I just realized. So this is like backstory how Akasaka got involved with. I mean, I guess we already know the backstory with Akasaka and Ooishi since they made that pact to solve the Hinamizawa mystery stuff. But maybe this is like leading up to them teaming up with Tomoe. What the? Oh. Hinamizawa? Detective Nimi quickly realized what I meant and turned his attention to the TV screen. He had been watching some variety shows with flashy announcers. 3 days have passed. Oh, this is just 3 days after, huh? Jesus. 3 days have passed since the sudden volcanic gas disaster struck Hinamizawa village. So this is actually deeper backstory because this is before the one shown in Himitsubushi. 3 days have passed since the sudden volcanic gas disaster struck Hinamizawa village. Though we have yet to receive a follow-up report from the self-defense forces carrying out the rescue activities, the state of the villagers is looking increasingly grim. The newscaster divulged into the details of this macabre macabre reality. When I first heard the news early in the morning on June 22nd, everyone, myself included, felt too stunned to say anything. But now that 3 days have passed, I was able to watch a bit more calmly. Still, this was an unprecedented catastrophe, unlike anything since the end of the war. Every TV station reported progress in real time, organizing special information releases every night. I mean, good. Countless, countless people on screen were shouting, weeping, roaring, grieving. These were probably the residences of the Netsun over Otonomiya. Can we get an interview with Kamada-kun? How does he feel about this sudden turn of events? Actually, the last, I mean, he would probably feel pretty sad because he's bros with Keiichi and stuff. Actually, the landscape behind them looked quite familiar. Modern day Pompeii is actually like a pretty good way to put it. Good one, Tatano. You really got us this time. Sorry, you're taking too long, Akasaka. The build-up, you baited me, bro. The build-up was too big, but I'll replay it just for you. Bro, that build-up is insane.
閣僚の非常対策本部は救援の準備とか情報統制とかでてんてこまいだし、野党は現内閣の危機管理体制の怠慢を議会で追及するって息巻いてますね。未明に起こった大災害にしては政府はよくやったと思うんですが。
I mean, they definitely had a grasp on it. Wink, wink. And thus the government's quick response shortly after the disaster struck was praiseworthy. The end result was the worst possible scenario, total annihilation of the villagers, but in the face of natural disasters beyond human control, wink wink, nothing more could have been done. Simply managing the chaos and riots in the surrounding area could be considered exemplary work. Exemplary. Nonetheless, providing that Detective Nimi just said, the opposition party members were on TV, rushing towards the microphone to vent their anger. Their blame-seeking escapades made them look like vultures growing fat from the unhappiness of others. I mean, fuck, dude, if I was an opposition politician, I'd probably jump on it too, dude. I'm sorry. It's hitting low, but that's like, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to shit-talk them.
そういう私たちだってあれと違う何かができるというわけでもない。まあ、そうなんですけどね。それでも人事のようにただ見ているしかできないってのは辛いものだな。
Before I knew it, my seething regret had me clenching my fist so tight that my nails began to dig in. Come to think of it, the detectives who went out to respond to that demonstrator, Seki Kawashima, had a strong sense of justice as well. That's why they wanted a distraction from their own powerlessness and went out on an assignment that had nothing to do with their record. Sati? Just then I heard a call from behind and turned around. Damn, wrong one. No, it's just a totally different guy. I saw Kano-san standing there, another commissioner like me, but with more experience. Excuse me? Put a please on that? I'm joking, he's the boss. Noticing Detective Nimi immediately rise to his feet, Kano-san let out a gentle smile to inform him there was no need for formalities. He was my senior, and I've relied on him for the past 5 years since I was assigned to the Public Security Division. He and I are the same rank, but he has the an extensive educational background, and a diverse network of personal connections. Plus, his solid character and long history of achievements are well recognized. He likely has a future as the successor of director Kataoka.
今日は休みだと聞いていたからね。ちょうどよかった。相談したいことがあるんだが、ちょっといいかな。え？あ、はい。
We're in the Child Welfare Center? No, I'm joking. After we made our way into the empty conference room, Kano-san locked the door behind us. I could easily tell from his facial expressions and demeanor how serious the topic he was about to discuss.
悪いね、出勤早々に。時間はいいかい？あ、大丈夫です。それで？うん。ちょっとね。
Kano-san's eyes wandered as he tried to find the right words, then he sat down and lit a cigarette. Following his example, I took a seat and turned toward him, waiting for him to speak. The silence continued for a while longer. How strange. Is it really that difficult to talk about? Right after I wondered that, Kano-san crushed the butt of his cigarette in the ashtray and began to speak. Oh, not Chief Cabinet Secretary Otano. I thought I had mentally prepared myself, but I couldn't help but gasp. The news he provided was just too shocking and unexpected.
すぐに病院に運び込まれたが、現在絶対安静とのことだ。夕方には病状が発表される予定で、数日以内の辞任はほぼ確実らしい。突然ですね。
I couldn't think of anything else to say. I sighed and looked up to the ceiling. The fluorescent lamp was flashing erratically, nearing the end of its life. Secretary Otano was the leading authority in the largest faction of the current ruling party. Oh, wait, we know this guy. Actually, I remember him. True Higurashi fans know who Secretary Otano is. I'm joking. He's from Higurashi also, again, funnily enough. He was in the meeting with the Prime Minister, trying to convince him to do the massacre thing. I think he was like, there's the Prime Minister, the General, and it was the other guy who was acting like, how could you not tell us about this dangerous disease? Even though it turns out he was part of Tokyo. I don't know if he was part of Tokyo, but he was part of the plan. Both him and the military general guy were both there trying to convince the Prime Minister. Anyways, that's that guy. That was a testament to his influential voice and his tremendous influence on the cabinet. Also, as a former employee of the defense agency, he'd worked non-stop day after day to manage the task force and hold press conferences in the wake of the recent disaster. Could his overwork have taken its toll? I mean, I assume it's him. I could be wrong, though.
やはり子飼いの梨本副長官ですかね。いや、近いところに聞いた話だと、
Oh, this is looking a little sussy.
後任は今のところ、大谷副長官の昇格で調整しているそうだ。
Or maybe it was Otani. I need some deep... should I doodle, though? Higurashi Otani. Well, look. You type in Otani and it brings up Kumadai. That I spoiled? Kumadai's Otani? I'm joking. If you didn't get it. But it did bring up Kumadai, which is surprising. That was another surprising bit of information. Nashimoto was Secretary Otano's right-hand man, and his experience and accomplishments were more than worthy of the title of Cabinet Secretary. Yeah, the other faction's taking over. This was the plan of Tokyo, which is crazy. Remember, it wasn't just to kill 2,000 villagers or help Takano with its research. It was to create an opportunity to basically bring this other faction into power. Though this is talking about the politics, but I assume it's also Tokyo sways with the current political party, I assume, or whatever. I don't know. You know what I mean, though. Basically, the whole massacre thing was a political power move.
誰も反対しなかったんですか？まあ、若干の懸念を主張するのもいただろうが、基本的には満場一致だな。信じられない。
Chief Secretary Okino and former Foreign Minister Imamura had drastically different policies, especially in foreign affairs. Even though they were members of the same party, they infamously fought like cats and dogs. There was strong speculation that Secretary Ukino used his deep ties to the Prime Minister to have Imamura dismiss as Foreign Minister. What the fuck? And their feud extended to the lawmakers working under them. So I don't think Secretary Ukino would easily agree to having a political rival as his successor, even in an emergency.
それに、千葉厚生大臣も黙ってはいないでしょう。確か彼は奥野長官とは盟友関係にあったはずです。敵対の派閥に渡すくらいなら、自分の派閥の誰かにそのポストを要求してもおかしくないと思いますが。確かに、それでも党内ではさしたる反対もなく、すんなりと人事が進んでいるらしい。だからこそ余計に異様さが目立っているんだがね。しかし、それ以上に変なのは奥野長官だ。入院したのはいいが、病名が不明でね。また、過労で絶対安静という割には、派閥の議員たちが秘密裏に病院を往来している。それは
It was definitely suspicious. If these were just standard hospital visits, there would be no need to keep them secret. What's more, he called his proteges there. Maybe this illness is just a farce to prevent the information from leaking to the media. Kano-san pensively looked down while lighting a second cigarette. Just as he said, Secretary Ukino was acting suspicious for someone who had been supposedly been suddenly hospitalized.
奥野長官の辞任の件、裏に何かあるんでしょうか。わからない。ただ、ないよりもあると考えた方がいいだろうな。
True.
あるいはあったか。いずれにしても奥野長官には奇妙な組織がいくつも紐付きでぶら下がっているようだから。明日から私は室長の命令で奥野派の動向について監視を行うことになった。なるほど。
At last, I was beginning to grasp the situation. In other words, Kano-san needed my team to monitor the Okino Chiba or Imamura party leads.
わかりました。早速、私の部下たちも招集します。あとは
Jumping the gun.
それなら私じゃなく、片岡室長が全体に命令を下しているはずじゃないか。君にお願いしたいのは、実は他にも極秘のことだ。
After saying that, Kano-san pulled a document from his breast pocket and spread it out in front of him. It contained a list of names for about 20 companies and organizations with something written next to them.
これは奥野長官が前回の総選挙で得た政治献金の団体リストだ。
Do a little chatty chat chat.
そこの下の方、見覚えない。
Oh, no. What is it? Who dat? New phone. I diligently scanned the list and opened my eyes wide when I saw a specific name. Sonozaki! They're pro-Okino. Oh my god. Wait, what does that even mean? I was like, wait, I don't get it. So Otano got boosted by the Sonozatis? But wait, that doesn't connect the dots at all, man. That threw me for a loop. I thought it was gonna be some Tokyo shit. The name Sonozaki, it was the name of one of the three families governing Hinamisawa village, who led the villagers in the anti-dam protest campaign.
なんで園崎家が奥の長官に献金を。わからない。奥の長官の地元というわけでもないし、5年前のダム建設反対運動で
That is a little sussy.
受けた様子も見当たらない。
We don't know that answer, right? I mean, they're a big Yakuza group. It might have something more to do with the Yakuza group part than the Hinamizawa village, though, right?
また、それ以上に奇妙な噂もある。噂？災害だよ。ひなみ沢で起こった例の。
The conversation had suddenly shifted in a strange and unexpected direction. It was on the TV just a moment ago, the great Hinamizawa disaster. Volcanic gas burst from Onigafuchi swamp and into the village late in the night. The death toll was over 2,000 villagers. Even 3 days after the incident, the Hinamizawa area remained completely blockaded. Rumors and misinformation spread across the country, and people were stricken with the terrible fear of the unknown. The cause of the gas release still remains a total mystery. Since there are no warning signs, finding the cause has proven extremely difficult. 5 years ago. Oh man. I was investigating the kidnapping of the Minister of Construction's grandson. I spent some time in Hinamizawa village as a part of that investigation, and while I was there, I met a strange girl named Rita Frude. Yo, tiny Rita! It's been a while.
東京へ帰れ。もうどうにもならないことです。
Back then, she made that mysterious prophecy to me with an innocent smile on her face. Every subsequent year, a murder will occur in Hinamizawa on the night of the festival, and my wife will die in an accident. It was all so ominous. And finally, all her predictions eventually came true. Rita Frude. I'll never forget her. I wonder if the great disaster claimed her life as well.
その災害さ。一晩で村が全滅してしまったというあれのこと。
Kano-san's voice pulled me back to reality, and then he revealed to me some more astonishing information.
実はあの事件、政府は事前に災害を予測していたんじゃないかっていう噂が出ているんだよ。日時まで特定できるほど詳細に。
Predicted the disaster?
それ本当の話なんですか？今の科学技術でそんなことができるなんて聞いたことがないですよ。原理は知らない。私は地質学者じゃないからね。ただ、それにしては救援活動の初出が早すぎる。しかもレスキュー隊のリーダー格の中には、上長の命令でその日の年休を直前になって取り消された者もいるらしいんだ。
Particularly specialized technicians. Many of them were veterans who could handle even unprecedented situations. Could that be evidence that this wasn't an unexpected disaster, like a fire or earthquake, but something that was anticipated?
しかしです。もし事前に分かっていたとすれば、みすみす村人全員を見殺しにしたということになります。数にして2000人ですよ。まだ増える勢いだそうだね。それが本当なら、天才じゃなくて人災ってことじゃないですか。冗談じゃない。そんなことあっていいはずが。赤坂君、声が大きいよ。
I'd be like, yeah, I mean, I understand the frustration, especially since he's a justice kind of guy. But yeah, man, just the idea that your government planned the death of 2,000 people would be kind of insane. A conspiracy theorist's wet dream, but also like just insane, no matter how corrupt they are.
すみません。
Hano-san calmly stood up, then opened the door and tried to peek outside. Even though we were in a locked room, there was always a chance that the noise could leak out. Fortunately, he was able to verify that nobody was in the hallway, so he continued speaking in a hushed tone.
君の言う通り、それが本当だったら大スキャンダルだ。官房長官の辞任とか内閣の支持率とかなんて話じゃなく、国家の屋台骨がひっくり返るかもしれない。だから、奥の長官の入院と人事異動は、そいつの真相を永遠に闇に葬るための最終手段だったんじゃないかという疑いがあるんだ。しかし、なぜそんなことが。わからない。だが、タイミングが良すぎるのがどうも引っかかっているんだよ。未曾有の災害が起き、予知が可能だったと噂が出たのはその数日後。そしてその翌日には官房長官が入院。つまり、あの災害はいわゆる人災で、だからこそ予知ができた。憶測の域を出ないが、そう考えても不自然はないだろう。状況から判断すると、野党側の追及を避けるために奥の長官が事件の幕引きを図った可能性は否定できなくもない。なるほど。
In other words, could there be a political conflict behind all this? A secret that, if exposed, could ruin the political careers of many party leaders? If that was the source of all this, it would be a huge scandal. The gravity of the matter had me sweating profusely across my entire body.
それで、私に何を？君は以前、ひなみ沢に行ったことがあったよね。覚えてるかい？ええ、もちろんです。政府の災害予知に関する情報は他に当たらせている。君には、ひなみ沢絡みの情報を集めてもらいたいんだ。
Had Hinamizawa ever experienced a gas leak like this in the past? Were there any other incidents or accidents that seemed to relate to the gas disaster? And was there something behind the gas disaster or not? Just learning that much didn't seem like an unreasonable goal. Unfortunately, Hinamizawa is now a restricted area and all of the residents have passed away. Even if I asked around, I had little hope of uncovering any new information.
それから、申し訳ないんだが、この件については単身で当たってもらいたいんだ。私一人で。ああ、情けない話だが、この件について信用のできる捜査員が意外に少ない。理由はわかるだろう。
Hano-san glanced at me with a bitter expression. He was probably referring to those large-scale allegations that our groups worked together on the other day. It was an unusual story. There was certainly a strong political influence, so I could understand why the higher-ups ordered the investigation to be suspended. However, despite the given wealth of evidence we collected and the high probability of success, the higher-ups never provided an explanation for why they made that order. Thanks to that perfect timing, Kano-san and I had developed a suspicion that someone on the inside was possibly leaking our investigation data.
この前の件もあって、私のところは古い部下でさえ、どこで誰と繋がっているかわからない現状だ。君のところは？いえ、お恥ずかしいことですが。だろうね。そんなわけだから、赤坂くんに頼みたいんだ。ちょうど火球に関わっている山はないみたいだしね。それも例の件がなくなったせいなんですが。それはお互い様だよ。それに一度とはいえ、ひなみ沢の地に足を踏み入れたことのある君なら、そこいらの捜査員よりも。
This is how he meets Ooishi.
加納さんにそう言って信頼してもらえるのは光栄なんですが。
Even though he mentioned my intuition and personal connections, 5 years have passed since then. Even if I tried to gather information, I wouldn't be able to get anywhere without cooperation from the locals. Oh, so is this Kano guy? I just remembered. Is he the guy from Himitsubushi too? The guy that Akasaka talked to on the phone a couple of times? I think he might be. Ooishi! Bido! I immediately thought of Detective Ooishi. That's right. He was the old detective from Okonomiya Station I worked with on the case from 5 years ago. He might be able to provide some assistance.
しかし、大丈夫だろうか。
My only concern was whether or not he was caught up in the disaster. Although he was from a neighboring town, I couldn't deny the possibility that he would try to help the villagers during a disaster. Of course, I didn't want to suspect the worst, but...
こちらからのつっつきは極力控えるが、見込みがありそうだったら連絡してくれたまえ。それ以外は何か気になることがあった時に報告してくれるだけでいい。留守中の代理は誰かいる？
Nimi.
そうです。
Oh,
川島君に頼みます。
rip Nimi.
彼なら口も固いし、信頼できます。うん。雲をつかむような話で申し訳ないが、やってもらいたい。頼んだよ。わかりました。
After that exchange, Kano-san gave me a pat on the shoulder and walked out of the room. As I started walking to the door, my memories began flowing back to me.
ひなみ沢か。
Returning to my office, I fell back into my seat and took a deep breath. I never thought I'd be involved with Hinamizawa again. It felt like fate had tied me to Hinamizawa. 5 years ago, right before I lost my wife.
あなたはさっさと東京に帰った方がいい。でないとひどく後悔することになる。
Back then, Rika Furude certainly did give me that warning. And then, I found out the following day that my wife had died. I was overwhelmed with regret, just as she predicted. Even now, it's a memory that haunts me. But what was even more frightening was that it would continue to happen every year. I was still worried about her prophecies even after returning to Tokyo, so when I had free time, I would spend it looking into Hinamizawa. My wife's death wasn't the only one she predicted 5 years ago. In 1979, the dam construction foreman would become the victim of the dismemberment murder. The following year, June 1980, 2 victims would fall to their deaths. And the following year, June 1981, the priest of the Furude family would die and his wife would go missing. Then in June 1982, another person was beaten to death. And then in June the following year, Rita Furude would die. All our predictions came true. Last June, my spine was completely frozen over as I looked over the accuracy rate. And June 1983 is this year, of course. I still haven't confirmed the death of Rita Furude. However, an unprecedented gas disaster struck the village just days ago, and the prospects look grim. I don't understand why her predictions came true, but after hearing her prophecies 5 years ago, I began to grow deeply concerned for Hinamizawa. And so, it seems like fate that I should be involved with Hinamizawa again. Back then, was Rika Furude asking me to change the future? In the end, I was astonished to learn that it happened every year, yet I did nothing except sit idly by. And as a result, did I allow the gas disaster to occur and claim Rika Furude's life? Thinking of it that way, the feelings of guilt came rushing back to me.
Akasaka-san, 電話が入っています。内線8番です。
あ、うん。
Detective Nimi's voice brought me back to my senses and I picked up the receiver. And as I pushed the 8 button, the person waiting for me on the other end was... Ooishi. Hearing that voice for the first time in 5 years brought memories back. The foo foo foo.
大石さん
I felt a sense of relief as I heard that booming laughter on the other side of the receiver and quickly moved that receiver away from my ear.
そうですそうです覚えていてくださって光栄ですよ。
覚えてるも何も。ご無事でしたか。いやー、よかった。テレビで見て、ずっと心配していたんですよ。
そうでしたか。いやいや、心配をさせてしまってすみませんでしたね。
いえ、大石さんならきっとご無事だと信じていましたから。それより、急にどうしたんです？何かご用でも？
いやね、実は私、今東京に来てるんですよ。どうです、赤坂さん。今日ちょっとだけお時間ありますか？
What impeccable timing! I felt the hand of fate working at work again.
ええ、大丈夫です。私もちょうど大石さんにご相談したいことがあったんですよ。
そりゃよかった。じゃあ、お近くまで伺いますね。
Another person related to Hinamizawa is drawn to me. It feels like it's my destiny to uncover the truth of Hinamizawa. Oh, big O. Hello.
どうもお変わりありませんな。
いやいや、私なんてまだまだですよ。大石さんこそお元気そうで何よりです。
少し顔つきがたくましくなりましたかね。
Yo, that's what Rita told him in Matt Minaroshi.
それにお世辞がうまくなった。
そんな本気で言ってるんですよ。
そりゃ嬉しいな。
It's been a while since I saw Ooishi-san, but he hasn't changed a bit. I'm glad. This was our first meeting in 5 years, so we had a lot to talk about. So we talked for a while and shared stories of glory and bravery, but we wouldn't go on like that forever. So once Ooishi-san's iced coffee ran out, he told a nearby waitress. Then he ordered 2 more glasses. After the waitress dropped them off and walked away, I took the opportunity to cut in.
で、大石さんがはるばる東京までいらっしゃった理由は？
まあ、最初にこれを見てもらえませんか？
After saying that, Ooishi-san slid me a pile of documents. It was a list of victims from the Great Hinamizawa disaster.
今回の大災害、お悔やみ申し上げます。
As I received the list, I lowered my head. Ooishi-san stayed silent and just shook his head to let me know no concern was necessary. He probably knew a lot of people who passed away. That thought brought an ache to my chest.
それは亡くなった村人のリストです。行方不明者も入ってますから、正確なものではありませんけどね。
I stared down at the list, ready to devour it. Carefully looking through it, I let out an exasperated sigh once I found the name I was looking for.
やはりダメだったのか。
Battler?
赤坂さん、誰かご存知の方でも？
あ、いえ、これはもう確定の情報ですか？
ええ。沖宮に派遣された救護隊員から内々に渡してもらったものですから。
I reviewed the list a second time and stared at the line where the name Rita Furude was listed. Since the moment I heard about the catastrophe, I was prepared for this. Nevertheless, in the depths of my heart, I still believed in miracles. What the? And that only made my grief even worse.
こんな大惨事が昭和のこんな時代になって起ころうとは痛ましい限りです。
I'm ready for. I'm never missing a pause again, man. I'm hodling.
ですが、赤坂さん、それより今回のひなみ沢大災害にはいろいろと腑に落ちないところがあるんですよ。
腑に落ちないところですか？
Hearing Ooishi-san say that, I recalled what Kano-san and I discussed earlier.
実はあの事件、
Yes, I
奴
was
は
there.
事前に災害を予測していたんじゃないかって
Maybe this is a sign I probably should have ended, but we'll just keep going.
日時まで特
They're
定できるほど
flashbacking already.
詳細に
No way, could Ooishi-san know something about that? Maybe he had some important clues related to Kano-san's theory. I quickly leaned forward, and my palms grew sweaty as I waited for him to continue his story.
このひなみ沢の火山ガス災害がタタリによって引き起こされたって噂、ご存知ですか？
タタリ？
However, the explanation Ooishi-san raised sounded laughable. It was quite the damper on my building enthusiasm. After all that, a supernatural term like curse came up.
何ですかそれは？初めて聞きましたが。
なあ、赤坂さんはご存知ないかもしれませんがね、ひなみ沢村では毎年タタリが起こっているんですよ。お社様のタタリが毎年6月に綿流しの日にね。
まさかそんなこと。
I was about to say, I guess he doesn't know it's dubbed the Curse of Oyashiro. But something struck me before I could finish talking. Watching Higurashi. An icy chill ran down my entire body upon hearing that word. And then I remembered. The prophecy I heard from Rika Furude 5 years ago. Are you just like forgetful? Yo, it's the CG! We just like went through this, man. Look at her. Black and white edition.
この村にこれから毎年血生臭いことが起きるのに
That was when she told me in detail about the tragedies that would unfold in Hinamizawa over the next 4 years, and they all actually came true. Even that they would all occur on the day of the Watanegashi in June.
しかしそれではあのガス災害もタタリだって言うんですか？神様のような頂上の存在がありえない力を振るって天変地異を起こしたと。
Although that said, a part of me still thought that idea was ridiculous. Even if someone was carrying out serial murders every year under the guise of a curse, it was hard to believe that they would try to kill over 2,000 people this year. But Ooishi-san already seemed to see through my doubts.
いやいや、いいんですよ。まともな人間ならありえないって一生に付すのが普通です。でもね、私にはどうも気になってしょうがないんですよ。5年目のたたりがあの大災害だみたいな言い方をしている人もいますがね、それは私も違うと。
It's gonna bring up the Rika death.
5年目のたたりは別にちゃんとあったんですから。
タタリは別にあった。
ええ、綿流しの村祭りの日に殺人事件があったんです。その犠牲者は
Oh,
富武二郎とい
right.
う旅行写真家で、
Of course.
からの爪で喉を引き裂いての兵士。
Yeah. Rika happened like the day before. But yes, Jiro and Tomataki. Oh, Jiro. Jiro and Tomataki. I meant Tomataki and Tatsuno's deaths happened. Right.
たたりと呼ぶにふさわしい。
You almost forget it's a death because it's just clockwork, man.
で次にその富武氏の恋仲だった
Takano. One day she'll be in one of these arts, man.
こちらはしばらくのち焼死体で発見されました。
何かの偶然。 ではなさそうですね。
Though I was terribly shot, I had to control my breathing to stay calm. My heart rate skyrocketed when I heard the ominous premonitions. It was so hard to breathe.
他にもまだ続きがあるんですよ。
Oh, more
その
lore?
数日後にフルデリカとい
Yep,
う身
there
分
we
の
go.
娘が殺されましてね。
Rika Frude, that girl was murdered.
ちょっと待ってください、大石さん。今なんて。
フルデリカ、フルデ神社の神主の娘です。ああ、赤坂さんは彼女のことをご存知でしたよね。
ええ、5年前のあの時に。
私が殺されます。
Just then, I thought back to the words that Rita-chan told me alone, and my mind went blank. I thought it was the disaster that killed her, but that wasn't the truth, and just as the prophecy 5 years ago had predicted, someone killed her?
翌日の昼頃に神社に訪れた村の老人たちがフルデリカの死体を発見したんですがね。いや、お知り合いならあまり詳しくは知らない方がいいでしょう。
Oh no, not the deets. You don't want to learn about the deets. I leaned forward. There's no doubt in my mind that I wanted to hear the truth.
死体は神社の境内、賽銭箱の脇に寝かされていました。衣服の着用はなく、本人以外の複数の足跡が発見されております。おそらく他の場所で殺害されて、
not exactly. In consideration for my closeness to Rika Furude, Ooishi-san carefully chose his words to avoid inciting me, then continued.
薬物で昏睡させられてからあの場所へ運ばれ、腹部を切開されたようです。ひどくむごいありさまでした。
昏睡。生きながら腹を裂かれたということですか。
Oh. Just then, a picture slipped out from Ooishi-san's file. It was a picture of what remained of Rika Furude.
失礼。
Ooishi-san rushed to grab the picture in a panic, but the miserable image of Rika Furude was already firmly burned into my mind. Her cloudy eyes were open, staring vacantly above, and her abdomen was sliced open wide. It was so cruel, it pained me just to breathe. Even though she predicted her own death, the fact that it actually happened was haunting. Did she know how cruel her death would be? Nope, she actually didn't know that, so... maybe luckily enough. Was there nothing that could be done? Did she have to be swallowed by fate? What the hell was going on?
凶楽目的の類なんでしょうか。
さあ、まだ星は上がっていないんですよ。しかしですね、赤坂さん。私はこれは単なる猟奇殺人じゃないと睨んでいます。ちなみに、ひなみ沢の綿流しのお祭りのことはご存知で
？6月の村祭りですよね。布団の綿を川に流すってことくらいなら。
I vaguely remember the story and answered as such, then.
ひなみ沢村のお祭りの綿流しってのはそもそも綿流し、つまり臓物流しから転じたものらしいんです。何でも人食い鬼たちが犠牲者をばらして内臓を川に捨てたという昔話から転じたらしいんですよ。
つまりひなみ沢村においては内臓を引きずり出すことに宗教的な意味があったと。
で、ひなみ沢村の昔話によるとですね、人食い鬼と人間が仲良く暮らすための調停者として、お社様という神様が降臨しているってことになっているらしいんですよ。フルデリカはそのお社様の生まれ変わりだと村では言われていました。
お社様の生まれ変わり？
はい。ですからその荒人神であるフルデリカを回復して殺すのは、村の信仰に対するこれ以上ない冒涜行為と言えるわけですよ。
つまりお社様への冒涜が起きたということですか？
ねえ、そういうことです。合災害が起きたのはフルデリカが殺された晩のことです。
Ooishi-san nodded in agreement. The death disaster occurred immediately after the blasphemy against Oyashiro-sama. I was beginning to see what he was talking about. Then a person or group responsible for the curse must have been well versed in the history of Hinamizawa.
それに有毒ガスが発生した沼の名前ご存知ですか？鬼ヶ淵沼って言うんです。
鬼？
はい、鬼です。ひなみ沢村の旧名は鬼ヶ淵村って言うんです。あれは村名の由来ともなる象徴的な沼なんですよ。この沼の奥底は地獄につながっていて、人食い鬼たちはこの沼から訪れた。なんて話が村人たちの間ではまことしやかに言い伝えられています。
するとお社様の逆鱗に触れて沼から鬼がやってきて村を、その通りに有毒ガスが発生して村が滅んだ。でもそれはいくらなんでもできすぎてやいませんか？
こんなところで驚いてちゃまだまだですよ。さらに続きがあるんですから。村の伝承では、お社様がお怒りになられると、地獄の扉を開いて正気が溢れ出す。
This was a story that was crazy. Didn't you learn this in, what is it, Tatararoshi? Or maybe some other arc. But they have like a legend where when Oyashu becomes enraged, he sends out a miasma, aka a mist, to kill everyone in the village, which is what exactly happened. Then I was like, oh, what the fuck? Maybe it is supernatural? It's literally kind of what happened. I mean, it didn't. It's not what happened, because we know what happened, but, you know, that tripped me up.
つまりガスですよ。
それも予言のうちだと。
I felt totally lost. The gas disaster was predicted by the village traditions? Could that be the real meaning behind Kano-san's government prediction theory? Could the death of Rika Furude be the impetus for the gas disaster? Did such a device exist in the bottom of the swamp? Impossible. No, maybe there was something to this. Could the villagers have kept such a device in the swamp in order to unite the villagers and maintain faith in Oyashiro-sama? But if such a large-scale device was being set up, the villagers would have grown suspicious the moment it was installed. It's ridiculous that I am taking such a foolish theory seriously. But at this point, it's impossible to decide that there's no connection between the gas disaster and the villagers' belief in the curse. In reality, the villagers believed in the curse and they referred to the murder incidents that occurred every year as the curse. Then, was the gas disaster caused by humans who believed in Oyashiro-sama, who were angered by the murder of Rita Furude? Maybe it wasn't a natural disaster, but a targeted release of poisonous gas? That also sounded weird. If the intent was to annihilate the villagers, I can understand why they would express it in a way that resembled Oyashiro-sama's wrath. If you destroy all the believers living there, who is left to feel threatened by the curse? I desperately tried to organize the thoughts in my head. Still, the one thing I could conclude from all this was the probability that someone could have predicted the gas disaster was greater than 0.
大石さんは綿流しの日に毎年起こっていたひなみ沢村での連続開始事件の方はどう捉えていますか？
連続事件は存在しないというのが県警の公式見解です。事件に連続性はなく、
Surely.
毎年事件が起こるというのも偶然に過ぎず。
I mean, it kind of is, but still.
事件あるいは事故に過ぎないと。
そして今回の際、
つまり誰もそこから一歩も踏み出そうとしないわけです。私が東京に来た理由、少しはお分かりいただけましたでしょうか。
A series of murders occurred in Oyasho Osama's name and accumulated in a disaster that destroyed the entire village. A vicious crime that exploited the villagers' beliefs. It seemed like a reasonable assumption. After Ooishi-san finished speaking, he lit one of his favorite cigarettes and took a deep breath.
私、定年まであとわずかなんです。ですから、在職中にどうしても親代様のたたりを解明したい。悲願なんですよ。
The ice in Ooishi-san's iced coffee had completely melted down. He turned toward a waiter behind him and held up the empty glass. Ooishi-san continued investigating the case all on his own, never wavering in his belief that the crime had a human culprit acting under the faith in Oyasho-sama. I think I learned what it really meant to be a detective by looking up to elders like him. And this is my case, too. I've been thinking about Hinamizawa since I lost my wife 5 years ago. Now that the villagers know more, it's time to unravel the mystery behind these prophecies. And Rita-chan. If the tragedies unfolded just as she predicted, then there must have been some dark conspiracy behind it. I want to find out the truth. No, I have to.
大石さん、わかりました。一緒に調べましょう。親代様のことを。
Is Kumadai alive? How's Kumadai doing? Did he get sniped?
ちょうど私もひなみ沢村について詳しく調べたいと思っていたんですよ。親代様でも何でも徹底的に調べましょう。
ありがとうございます、赤坂さん。あなたにご協力いただけると助かりますよ。
Na foo to you too. All the incidents up until now were treated as part of Oyasho-sama's curse, including the recent disaster. And my orders from Kano-san was to investigate leads related to the disaster. Therefore, this curse is absolutely worth investigating.
親代様信仰の背後に何があるのか、事件の背後関係を徹底的に洗いましょう。何か見えてくるかもしれない。
そうこなくちゃ。
Ooishi-san stood up with the receipt in hand, and so our lengthy investigations began. Anyways, good epi. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully enjoyed. Got a little backstory with the collab between Akasaka and Ooishi. Though it does seem like a different contingency than the Himitsubushi one. Because this is like them making a pact to so. I mean, I guess it could fit in too. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. Thank you guys for watching as always, and next time we'll head to 1983. But yeah, until then, see ya.